Welcome back to the Think Bigger Real Estate Show. My name is Justin Stoddart, and I am your host. And I am thrilled today to bring you value that you're going to be able to implement into your own business, and then you're going to be able to take it to your community. You and I both know that the real estate agent that brings the most amount of value and lets that value be known wins. And today's guest has a very tactical checklist that you can take to not only prepare your business for crisis to where you're prepared, but to where your other business owner, Upstream partners, as well as your community at large is prepared for what's coming. Before I fully introduce today's guest, let me remind you that inside of the Think Bigger Real Estate group on Facebook, we go deeper on these topics. We introduce you to the hosts, to the guests, to the guests, so that you have the ability to get more information from them and apply these things into your life. So again, if you're not yet a member of the Think Bigger Real Estate group on Facebook, go there and allow this learning to go deeper into your mind and integrate it into your business. Again, today's guest, her name is Connie Myers. She's a very well-known speaker, teacher, trainer throughout the real estate industry, has taken several businesses to the national stage, has written 5 best-selling books. Such an impressive person. Connie Myers, thank you for coming on to the Think Bigger Real Estate Show today.
I'm thrilled to be here, Justin. Thank you for having me.
Yes, my pleasure. Connie and I were introduced, it's been a couple months ago from another well-known name in the real estate industry. And it's been really fun getting to know Connie and what she does, what you do, I should say, Connie. I'm excited to bring this about. You know, where I live, right, kind of the Portland, Oregon, last year, right, we had a massive ice storm that kind of shut things down for over a week. We had firestorms where we were evacuated from our home. And then you see other parts of the country that have, whether it be hurricanes, tornadoes, again, forest fires, droughts, I think is probably maybe queued up for our next one. Like there's no shortage of natural disasters and alone just personal, right? Maybe like the loss of a loved one, or a health, and I think sometimes people well, what you focus on expands. If you focus on disasters and crises, that's what you're going to get. I don't think that's the way that it actually works. I think if you are prepared, you shall not fear. If you're prepared for this, then you don't have to focus on it. Especially when it comes, you have a plan in place. And that's what I love about what you bring to the table, Connie. Talk to us a little bit about how you got into this passion for really being a crisis management specialist.
Well, I was actually a FEMA inspector and trainer for about 7 years. And everything I've done, let me just suffice to say that I used to think I was like a cat with 9 lives. I had 9 different careers. But in reality, everything I've done since my early 20s was in training for what I'm doing today. And I always had this thought throughout my life. I'm a life coach. I'm, as you mentioned, an author. And I always had this thought, what does that FEMA stuff have to do with anything I'm doing today? And then in 2019, the California Association of Realtors sent out an email saying, these are topics that we're looking for. I already had some other courses up on their site. And one of them was disaster. So I wrote them back and I said, nobody gets that one but me. Now, this was just before the pandemic. So the pandemic was actually a real blessing for me because I was sitting writing courses. It's a 4-course certification. So it took a little time to write. But really, my entire life brought me to what I'm doing today. And my vision is to help 30 million people be better prepared for both their personal lives as well as their businesses over the next 5 years.
Well, yeah, that was one that I didn't mention, right? The pandemic. Now, for those in the real estate industry, it wasn't necessarily a setback. It was more of a setup to the craziest market we've ever experienced. However, one thing that I want to institute in here quickly into our conversation is whether or not you need this in your business, and I would argue that we all do. One thing that I preach, as you know from my book, Connie, the Upstream model, is that you can actually shift your focus from a massive database of people to a few key referral partners that give you referrals on a monthly, weekly basis. And oftentimes what I get real estate agents asking me is what value do I bring to these Upstream partners, right? And I'm not saying this is a one size fits all, but it's very interesting to be able to say, we have a crisis management system implemented into our business. And we teach that to our clients so that they're prepared, and you should do the same. Can I help you do that, right? This is an amazing value offering for anybody that wants to implement the Upstream model and have a value item that could be very interesting to the professionals that you're courting and that you're looking to add significant value so that they bring you into their client experience.
Absolutely. The whole design was around can I help others help the people in their communities? How can I bring light to what they need to do? And how can I help them be more visible in their business? So it's twofold. You're giving back and you're making a difference. And yet who are they going to go to when they're looking for your services? If you're the one out there helping others and making a difference in your community, they're going to come to you. So it's a win-win-win-win scenario when you do it that way, like what you talk about in your book.
Yeah, boy, I love that. I'm curious. You've been on the ground in FEMA relationships, right, where the federal government has had to step in to give people the basic necessities of life, food, shelter. I think maybe when you live down kind of Tornado Alley or you live along the coast, like the Gulf Coast, you might like be a little more prepared for that. But would you say that most people are ill prepared for disaster?
Yes. So it was the Association for the Certified Public Accountants that did a survey last year, and 61% of Americans believe that they're going to be affected by some kind of a disaster, either natural or man-made or some other kind of crisis over the next 3 to 5 years. Only 15 to 35% of those had any kind of preparation. And even that one that's 35%, they said they had an emergency kit. I can guarantee you they don't have 4 emergency kits like they need to have. And second of all, if you look what's in that emergency kit, it's probably not complete. So there's a dire need out there. And I look at it as you don't want to focus on the disaster. You want to focus on what being prepared is going to do for you, what it's going to do for your clients, what it's going to do for your business. That's how I look at this. I look at this as an incredible opportunity to make a difference and to improve your business all at the same time.
You know, back to my kind of initial comment of like if you start focusing on this, will these things show up more frequently in your life, right? I kind of want to clarify something here, is that I believe that in the back of all of our minds, there's always kind of a what if scenario, right? Even for those of us that are most ambitious, optimistic people that you'll find, there's still that little voice of like, what if the economy fell apart today, right? Maybe that's part of PTSD from having lived through as a home builder, right? The 2007 to 2009 debacle. And I think all of us to some degree have this parachute mindset, like in the back of our minds, if everything goes to hell in a handbasket, excuse my language, what, right? And I think, again, the more that you can, in fact, one of my great mentors taught me this. He said, like worry and insecurity lies in not being clear. Once you have clarity, once you have a plan and you have it written down, like the fear and the worry goes away because you know what you're going to do. It doesn't mean it still won't be a little bit uncomfortable and it's not ideal, but at least, okay, now we go to here. Another example, I've interviewed a gentleman by the name of Ari Meisel, and this is just validating everything that you're saying here for us. He's known as the most efficient man alive. Fantastic individual. I stay close to Ari. He's, again, a international bestseller. He talks about how he visited IKEA and they had he's walking to the bathroom and he saw a checklist on the wall that said, what happens if there's a bomb? Like, here's what we do. And he was kind of like, oh my goodness, like, is that something that happens often here? And he said, no. But yet, if it ever does, employees, rest assured, they know what to do if there's ever a bomb threat in the building. And he kind of talked about this of like, oftentimes we need checklists for things that we don't actually think are going to happen to us. And that's what actually, whether or not we ever use it, it gives us the peace of mind to not have to worry about it. It actually gives you a stronger mentality, not a weaker mentality.
Absolutely. So I talk a lot about, in my training, I talk a lot about resilient mindset. And resilience, the word resilience is used a lot in emergency circles. They use it for infrastructure. They use it for resilience of a community, our businesses. If we, and first responders and people that have been through a disaster will tell you the number one thing you need to have is a resilient mindset. And we always see the difference between those. When you're watching TV and there's been some kind of a disaster, there's the one victim that's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And oh, I don't know, everything is gone and da-da-da-da. You have the other one that says, everything is gone, but I have my health and I can rebuild. That is a resilient mindset. And what planning does gives you that resilient mindset, so that you know if something happens, your mind goes into automatic pilot where you just go forward. And you see it over and over again, even with the slightest bit of preparation. Even if there's just one little piece of preparation that you do, then it helps you to move into that resiliency and helps you to move forward. It helps you to survive and helps you to recover.
Yeah, boy, it's brilliant. Let's talk a little bit about what that looks like, what that checklist looks like. And I know, in fact, let's just jump to it here really quickly, Connie, that you have a checklist that people can go and download right now, right?
Absolutely.
I'm going to post, if you look in the comments here, I've just posted a link to Connie's website. Keep in mind, this is for your business, right? It's for yourself personally, and it's also for you to share in your community and with Upstream partners. This is a value add she's giving to you to allow you to be more valuable to yourself, as well as to be more prepared, more clear, as well as to offer that value to other people. It's a splendid gift. It's awesome. I'm grateful that you did that. Now, would you mind kind of whetting our appetite a little bit on to kind of talking us through, Connie,
Sure.
what is in there and like what should people be kind of looking for?
Well, I think everybody's heard that they need to have water and food. Everybody's heard that. Most people don't have it, but they've all heard that you have to have that. But I think one of the number one things you need to keep in mind, and the checklist is called Make a Plan, Do a Plan. So it covers all the things that go into all different types of emergency kits. It goes into what kind of plans, communication plans, evacuation plans. If you have somebody with disability, a plan for them, a plan for your kids. But I think the most important thing that people don't think about for their emergency kit is cash. You don't see it on any of the lists. But what happens if the power is out and you need to go to the store or you need to rent a room and there's no electricity and you can't use your card? You can't go to the ATM machine. What are you going to do? So the number one thing is cash. And then depending upon the type of risk you have in your area, there's your general preparedness kit. But then there's a kit depending on, like, for example, in Portland, flooding, fire, tornadoes. Well, you don't have tornadoes that much, but some tornadoes. Winter storms.
Earthquake, right? We're overdue for a massive, right?
Exactly. So what do you need particularly in that kit for those kinds of disasters? So I go through a lot of that, but I have a whole list of things that you could check off that you need for your general plan, and then you take a look at your risk. There's also a plan for your business. What do you need for your business? And let me give you one very important tip. You need to have 2 different crisis centers for your business. And I don't care if you're a one-person business or you've got 1,000 employees. You need 2 crisis centers. One in your office where you have alternatives to cell phones, alternatives to home lines. How are you going to communicate? Alternatives, an alternative email. Those are all critically important things. And you need to have that same in a location that is not in your office, that's far enough away that it probably will not be hit by the same kind of disaster that you're being hit with. So that's one of the most important tips I can give for people with businesses.
Yeah, it reminds me in any sort of war setting, right? A strategy is to take out communication first. And of course, Mother Nature doesn't have that intent to do that to us, but oftentimes that's what happens, right? As communication goes down, you have a hard time getting the services that you need because you can't communicate. Loved ones are worried about you because they can't communicate with you. I love that. It's a great concept. So have the plan and the ability to communicate in 2 separate locations.
Well, and we look at this. So in the last year, how many cyber attacks have taken out communication? And cyber attack, how critical is that to your business? I mean, you don't have to be a great, big, huge business to be attacked. And more and more, they're going after small to medium-sized businesses. So you need to be prepared on what you're going to do about that and how you're going to protect yourself, your staff. If there's, I mean, I know personally 3 people that have been in the proximity of a mass shooting. I mean, it's no longer, it's not going to happen to me. It's more like, okay, what am I going to do if it does happen to me? And being prepared. So I think it's really critically important that we look at our risk factors and figure out what we're going to do.
And again, the key to a strong mind, right? We're talking about thinking bigger on this episode, right? Of helping people to have the confidence and the perspective and the proper pursuit. And if in the back of your mind, you've got fear because you're unprepared, right? Or you get blindsided because you didn't think it would ever happen to you, that can be extremely disruptive to your business. I would imagine, Connie, that you've seen both real estate businesses as well as so many others. Some were completely unprepared, right? You talked about kind of personal resilience. But there's this business side as well, isn't there? Of like businesses that were ready, prepared, had cash reserves, whatever, had that same plan in place for the business, and those that had none. And like how disruptive that is to someone's income when either they're not prepared or not expecting something to come and hit them, right?
It's one person in particular. She owns a real estate office in Malibu, and she was born and raised in Malibu. When the Malibu fires came through, it took out her family home, which her mom was still living in, and several of the agents at her office got damaged, or either damaged or destroyed. And in the middle of the night, she got a knock on the door. The fire had shifted direction, and she was told she has 15 minutes to get out. And she said she took half of that time spinning around in a circle trying to figure out what to take. When they got to the shelter, she has 2 little girls. I think they were 4 and 6 at the time. And she had brought nothing for her kids, nothing. And when it came back to really assessing her business, they were out of business for, I don't remember exactly how long she said, but it was a period of time. And their agents are trying to figure out how to get a hold of their clients. And they've got escrows and things they're supposed to close. And it just caused mass confusion because there was not a plan in place.
Again, I want to go back to this point. I know your vision, Connie, is to help 30 million people to have a plan in place, right? To be prepared to be touched by your content. I want real estate agents to recognize that you can be a part of that. Not for Connie's sake. I think she's an amazing individual and you would be well served by doing it for her sake, but for your sake. Again, you're always trying to stay relevant. You're always trying to stay valuable to your clients and your community. I know an agent who I work very closely with, and she had a preparation client event, right? Sometimes a client event is let's get together, let's have some appetizers and some drinks and have fun together. Nothing wrong with that, but wouldn't it be interesting to also parlay in something that actually helps people at the end of the day have like some preparation in place? Like take what Connie's teaching you here, bring some of your top clients together and help them get a plan in place. What a great way for you to be extremely valuable to your client base. And then thinking another layer up, think about to your upstream partners of taking that same concept and saying, hello, Mr. Financial Advisor, I have a great idea. We just did this with our clients. I'd love to help you execute it with your clients. Like how valuable would that be to have almost a client experience in a box with all the templates, all the checklists, everything that you learned that went well and tweaking the things that didn't. How cool would that be for you to be able to step in and offer that value to people who can be a significant referral source into your business? I just love what you're doing, Connie. I think it's not just entertainment and have marketing pizzazz. There's deep meaning and significance behind what you're doing here. I love it.
One thing I'd like to add is each month I put out a mini course or a mini video training that you can, as a CKIM advisor, you have access to, and you can either take it and you either get the slide deck, you can do it yourself, or you can just use the one that I've put together and you can email that out. And every single month, there is something new that you can offer to your community. The book that I'm coming out with, When the Unthinkable Happens, Be Prepared, Be Ready. I'm going to make it a #1 bestseller, and I'm determined. And when it is, you'll be able to put a chapter in that book about why you wanted to become a CKIM advisor, why you wanted to give back to your community, and why you love the work that you do.
I love it, Connie. I'm going to move now to the signature question of the show, Connie, which is you're a big thinker. You've been doing it for a long time, adding value to other people. What is it that Connie does to continue to be a big thinker, to continue to expand your own possibilities? Teach us how you grow, Connie.
I am constantly listening to shows like this. I've got a definite following. I do interviews like you're doing here, and I can't tell you, I learned so much. And the relationships that I've developed over the years have really pushed me forward. And one thing about working with disasters and other types of crisis, there's always something new to learn and something new to expand on. So I'm not for lack of being able to take my brain and move it forward a little bit more.
Yeah. I just remembered we have a group of people who are listening to this and not watching this. So I'm gonna restate the website where you go to learn more about this. It's CK Solutions.
No, CKM.
CKM. I should probably restate that here, folks. CKM Solutions Group.com. Okay, we'll have to go back and correct that in the places. That is where you will find access to this free checklist download and learn more about what Connie has to offer. Connie, thank you so much for being here on the show today, for teaching us how to be a big thinker. I'm excited to be learning from you. I know we share a mastermind together, and from which I'm always grateful for what you bring to the table. And for all those listening here today, thank you for tuning in. And my final request of everybody, of all of us, is to go think bigger. Connie, thanks for helping us do that today, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.